Volume 1, Book 8, number 399. Narrated by Anas bin Malik, the Prophet saw some sputum in the direction of the Qibla, on the wall of the mosque, and he disliked that, and the sign of disgust was apparent from his face. So he got up and scraped it off with his hand and said, "Whenever any one of you stands for the prayer, he is speaking in private to his Lord, or his Lord is between him and his Qibla. So, none of you should spit in the direction of the Qibla, but one can spit to the left or under his foot." The Prophet then took the corner of his sheet and spat in it and folded it and said, "Or you can do like this." Volume 1, Book 8, number 400. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. Narrated, Abdullah bin Umar, Allah's apostle saw sputum on the wall of the mosque in the direction of the Qibla and scraped it off. He faced the people and said, "Whenever any one of you is praying, he should not spit in front of him, because in the prayer Allah is in front of him." Volume 1, Book 8, number 401. Narrated by Aisha, the mother of faithful believers. Allah's apostle saw some nasal secretions, expectoration or sputum on the wall of the mosque in the direction of the Qibla and scraped it off. Volume 1, Book 8, number 402. Narrated by Abd Hurairah and Abu Sa'id. Allah's apostle saw some expectoration on the wall of the mosque. He took gravel and scraped it off and said, "If any one of you wanted to spit, he should neither spit in front of him nor on his right, but he could spit either on his left or under his left foot." Volume 1, Book 8, number 403. Narrated by Abd Hurairah and Abu Sa'id. Allah's apostle saw some expectoration on the wall of the mosque. He took gravel and scraped it off and said, "If any one of you wanted to spit, he should neither spit in front of him nor on his right, but could spit either on his left or under his left foot." Volume 1, Book 8, number 404. Narrated by Anas, the Prophet said, "None of you should spit in front or on his right, but he could spit either on his left or under his foot." Volume 1, Book 8, number 405. Narrated by Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, "A faithful believer while in prayer is speaking in private to his Lord. So he should neither spit in front of him nor to his right side, but he could spit either on his left or under his foot." Volume 1, Book 8, number 406. Narrated by Abu Sa'id. The Prophet saw sputum on the wall of the mosque in the direction of the Qibla and scraped it off with gravel. Then he forbade spitting in front or on the right, but allowed it on one's left or under one's left foot. Volume 1, Book 8, number 407. Narrated by Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, "Spitting in the mosque is a sin and its expiation is to bury it." Volume 1, Book 8, number 408. Narrated by Abu Hurairah, Prophet said, "If any one of you stands for prayer, he should not spit in front of him, because in prayer he is speaking in private to Allah, and he should not spit on his right, as there is an angel. But he can spit either on his left or under his left foot and bury it, i.e. expectoration." Volume 1, Book 8, number 409. Narrated by Anas, the Prophet saw expectoration on the wall of the mosque in the direction of the Qibla and scraped it off with his hand. It seemed that he disliked it, and the sign of disgust was apparent from his face. He said, "If any one of you stands for the prayer, he is speaking in private to his Lord, or his Lord is between him and his Qibla, therefore he should not spit towards his Qibla, but he could spit either on his left or under his foot." Then he took the corner of his sheet and spat in it, folded it and said, "Or do like this." Volume 1, Book 8, number 410. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "Do you consider or see that my face is towards the Qibla? By Allah, neither your submissiveness nor your bowing is hidden from me, surely I see you from my back." Volume 1, Book 8, number 411. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. The Prophet led us in a prayer and then got up on the pulpit and said, "In your prayer and bowing, I certainly see you from my back as I see you, while looking at you." Volume 1, Book 8, number 412. Narrated by Abdullah bin Umar. Allah's apostle ordered for a horse race. The trained horses were to run from a place called Al-Hafiyah to Thaniyat al-Wada, and the horses which were not trained were to run from Al-Thaniyah to the mosque of Bani Zuraik. The sub-narrator added, Ibn Umar was one of those who took part in the race. Volume 1, Book 8, number 413. Narrated by Anas. Some goods came to Allah's apostle from Bahrain. The Prophet ordered the people to spread them in the mosque. It was the biggest amount of goods Allah's apostle had ever received. He left for prayer and did not even look at it. After finishing the prayer, he sat by those goods and gave from those to everybody he saw. Al-Abbas came to him and said, "O Allah's apostle, give me something too, because I gave ransom for myself," and Aqil, Allah's apostle, told him to take. So he stuffed his garment with it and tried to carry it away, but he failed to do so. He said, "O Allah's apostle, order someone to help me in lifting it." The Prophet refused. He then said to the Prophet, "Will you please help me to lift it?" Allah's apostle refused. Then Al-Abbas threw some of it and tried to lift it, but failed. He again said, "O Allah's apostle, order someone to help me to lift it." He refused. Al-Abbas then said to the Prophet, "Will you please help me to lift it?" He again refused. Then Al-Abbas threw some of it, and lifted it on his shoulders and went away. Allah's apostle kept on watching him till he disappeared from his sight and was astonished at his greediness. Allah's apostle did not get up till the last coin was distributed. Volume 1, Book 8, number 414. Narrated by Anas. I found the Prophet in the mosque along with some people. He said to me, "Did Abu Talha send you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "For a meal?" I said, "Yes." Then he said to his companions, "Get up." They set out and I was ahead of them. Volume 1, Book 8, number 415. Narrated by Sa'al bin Sa'd. A man said, "O Allah's apostle, if a man finds another man with his wife, committing adultery, should the husband kill him?" Later on I saw them, the man and his wife, doing li'an in the mosque. Volume 1, Book 8, number 416. Narrated by Itban bin Malik. The Prophet came to my house and said, "Where do you like me to pray?" I pointed to a place. The Prophet then said, "Allahu Akbar," and we aligned behind him and he offered a 2 rakat prayer.